Hey there, welcome back to another Inside Gazealous Studio. This is part 3 of the Com Voce burlesque feather fan dance costume. And in part 1, I covered the inspiration of the act. Part 2, I talked about the process. And today I'm going to talk about all the stats. So time. I hadn't tackled a beading project since 2001, I believe, where I made this gorgeous like butterfly beaded top. I saw it on the cover. I believe it was Glamour. It was Salma Hayek wearing this gorgeous beaded top, and I said I want to have it. And I don't know who designed it and who. It probably cost thousands of dollars. It's probably a haute couture designer, but I was like, I have to have one, so I made one. So I knew I could do the beading, and I was excited to add another layer to designing costumes, because just sticking rhinestones on a fabric, while it looks pretty from the stage, there's no depth and texture to it. So the beading was my chance to add that extra texture. So the time it took to construct just the fabric pieces was about 2 days. I would say like 10 hours, because it was like there was a lot of pinning and then sewing, trying on back and forth over and over again because of the bandiness. It was kind of difficult to get it to stretch just right and fit my body the certain way. And then the feather strips, just putting the pieces together. So there was a front and a back, and then there's this like little flap thing that folds into my G-string, and these little guys pop out. Sorry, I should probably just put it this way. Yeah. So it tucks into the G-string, so all you see is that over the G-string. I'm sorry, I don't have it on a mannequin. I can't show you. Here's the sewing for that. Took a little bit longer to like just figure out and play with, but it was about, I would say, 6 hours to make the strips, get them, prep them for the beading part. And then the beading. So the beading took less time than I thought. I thought it was going to take me like 6 weeks, and it took me like a week and a half. And I was like, whoa, that's awesome. But like I worked a full-time job at the time too. So I would come home after work, and then I would eat, and then I would like work on costumes for like 3 or 4 hours before I went to bed. So a week and a half. It's like 4 hours a day times 10, so 40 hours. It took about 40 hours to do the beading, just the beading part, and then sewing that beaded strip to the fabric to attach it to here. And then there was the body chain. I honestly don't know how long this body chain took, because it was me and my love trying to figure out how to make a body chain like the ones they had in Jubilee. And of course we didn't have the cup chain that they had. The cup chain is, I think it was size 48 SS. The chain I use, the biggest size is 40 SS, except it's not a cup, it's flat. We just did a lot of trial and error to get the chain as it to drape on my body properly, and then design this whole thing. And then the back side is really interesting too. We used just some findings we found at the, oh, it's all twisted. That's the problem with his body chain, is like always twisted. So that's a design error, I guess. But it hooks like this, and it hooks in 3 places on the back. So the longest part was rhinestoning it. I want to say it took probably 2 weeks. Again, working full time. So probably 50 hours on this baby, because not only did we have to design it and fit it all to me, but then I had to glue all these rhinestones on. And like I said, it's double-sided. So I took a cheap chain that I bought at Joann's, and then I glued rhinestones to the front and back of it. So then it rolls on your skin. So it's always showing sparkle no matter what. So that was the time it took. I think it was spread out over 2 or 3 months, just because I worked full time, and then I was performing as full time as you can as a burlesque performer, once a week, maybe twice a week. I guess I kind of was in a hurry to get it on stage, just because I wanted to have a feather fan dance and be known for feather fans. Don't know if I ever made it that far, but I tried. Anyway, the cost of this costume. So this took a little bit of research because this costume was made in between 2014 and 2015. I don't know the exact date I debuted the act with the actual costume, but I want to say it was sometime in 2015 or late 2014. And I think it was 2004. No, I don't know. Anyway, I don't know when I debuted it because it changed. It morphed a little bit and became a different act, and that will be the next series. I'll talk about that in a second. Cost. So the rhinestones. Like I said in the last video, these rhinestones, the light amethyst AB Swarovskis were discontinued. Let's see. No, I bought enough to make pasties. And so my design has 4 different size rhinestones on there, and hand beaded again. This is where the beading came from. I was just like, oh, let's add a different texture to pasties. And there are still a few available for sale on my website. I don't have this color, but I'll put the link down below if you're interested in any of these gorgeous beaded pasties. Hand beaded by Moi. All right, so here's the breakdown of the rhinestones. I bought 2.5 gross of the tiny, tiny, tiny ones. So these are the 9SS. Okay, tiny, tiny, tiny. And those just line the whole of all the feather strips. Okay, I don't know if I have any more of those left. And then I bought 10 gross of the 12SS. So 2 10 packs of 16SS and 2 10 packs of 20SS. And that 10 pack is 10 gross, which is 1,440 rhinestones. So double that is it's 2,880. So almost 3,000 rhinestones of each size. And then let's see, the 30s I found later. I didn't buy, I think about 1 gross of the 30s. So I have enough. I had enough for this. A gross is 144, by the way. This, and then 2 sets of pasties. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40. Yeah. So I bought 1 gross of the 30SS because I knew I didn't need the big ones. I just mostly needed the 20s and the 16s. And these on the body chain are the 20s. Yeah. The 20s. That's what size those are. I think those are like 3.5 millimeters, 4 millimeters, something like that. But a majority of the costume, like the G-string and the bra, have the 20s. And I had plenty to use because I freaked out because everything, they discontinued it. I had bought plenty to use for the next 2 iterations of this costume, which I'll talk about in the next series. Like I said, basically 50 gross of rhinestones in 3 different sizes. Okay, almost 55 gross of rhinestones in 5 different sizes. The total of that is $448.20. So a 2.5 pack or 2.5 gross from my rhinestone lady was $18.77-ish. The 10 gross of the 12SS was $61. 16SS times 2, $140, and the 20SS times 2 is $228. So that totals $448.20 on rhinestones alone, just for the costume. And then the beads, I bought the kilo pack, which is, I think it's 12 hanks of beads of the 1/4-inch bugle beads, and that was $42. And then the elastic for the bras, I think I bought like 3 to 6 yards of it. White at the fabric store was like $6. It was like super, super cheap. And so the hardest part of that bra was the process of putting it together. That it was just the time investment, not not the fabric, or the elastic rather, the feathers. So I ended up buying, for this particular costume, let's see, just the feather fans, which was a separate charge. So the feathers, just alone, I bought one boa, and I believe this boa, no, my notes say that I spent $155 on this boa. That actually might be right. Again, I got it from Fancy Feather. It's a 6-ply boa. It's probably a different price now. It's probably more than it used to be. I know there was a bird flu a couple years ago. That always affects the feather prices or boa prices. And then the shoes I bought, totally forgot about this, but these were $60 each pair, sorry. And I bought 3 pairs for various acts. So, and I left them this beautiful blush nubuck color. It is nubuck. And then the feather fans. This is one of those purchases where I'm just like kicking myself because I could have produced it at such like way, way, way cheaper rate than I paid. So for the 2 feather fans, 2 ostrich feather fans with 12 staves, just double feathers, cost me, the kits, they charge you for the kits and they charge you to put them together, was a total of $944. And if you saw my whole series on the Creme Deluxe Burlesque Showgirl fan act, 9 fans that I made myself cost me like $1,200. So this was my first pair of feather fans ever. And after had to have somebody rebuild them because they were poorly constructed that I had paid for, I decided I won't ever buy from that company again and decided that I could just make them my damn self. So I did, and I made 9 for that. So if you're curious about that, that is the Creme Deluxe Burlesque Showgirl Band Dance. It was one of the first series I made of this vlog series. So check that out if you haven't seen it yet on YouTube and my website. So I forgot to talk about the hairpiece for this costume. It basically was just a strip of beaded, rhinestoned, a little strip of plastic boning. And it was beaded and rhinestoned and then clipped into my hair. So the other investment for this costume was my wig. And it was a glorious wig. It cost me a total of $26. It was 2 falls sewn into each other. So I didn't just stick them together like this. I took them track by track and relaid them layer by layer, top to bottom. So I had this glorious mane of curly hair. And then I just pinned my little beaded piece to it. Not sure that was worth it because it took me, 6 hours to do that transfer. So 6 of my hours, I could have spent $300 on a wig. I could have just done that instead of, I'll just do it my damn self. This is one of the problems with being a creative, right? Like you are just like, I'll just do it myself. And then you're like, I spent 12 hours on this. I could have just bought it for cheaper. It's kind of a curse and a blessing all at the same time. I know there's a little meme, I craft because I'm cheap or something like that, or I DIY because I'm cheap. Yeah. But then you got to think, well, how much time did I spend on that? And could I have spent that time better on something else? Yes. The answer is usually yes, in my case. The grand total for this whole act, hair, shoes, costume, feather fans, and all, was $21.20. Yeah. For one act that I was on stage for less than 3 minutes. Still haven't recovered the cost of this act at all. It was a business decision. But that's it. That's the Com Voce burlesque feather fan dance costume. I hope you enjoyed this series. I plan to continue for the rest of the year showing off all of the amazing costumes I've made. We are just at the beginning, my friend. So next series is all about the costume or the act called O. If you want to read about the true love story about my O act, please sign up for my email list and you will receive that story in your inbox next Monday. Oh, the link for that is down below. When you sign up for my email list, you'll get a weekly email from me about my life, behind the scenes, stories, lessons I've learned, all the fun things about being this showgirl. And you'll also get a link to a video of my latest virtual show where I perform Moonlight, which, if you've been following this series for a while, you will have seen that costume creation about a month ago. And I'm wearing that costume, the bow with the dangles. So if you want to see me perform in my living room wearing that gorgeous costume and beautiful lighting, please become a subscriber today. The next series is about O, and I start that next Monday. And so yeah, that's the next costume. It is a continuation of this gorgeous beauty. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thanks for watching today. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about me, you can head to my website. The link is in the description. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.